Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss about Azure. In the last few classes, we have already discussed about the basics on cloud computing, then what is Azure, and then how to create the free account in Microsoft Azure. So in today's discussion, we are mainly going to focus on SQL database. So it is based on Microsoft SQL Server. I guess you have the experience of using Microsoft SQL Server in on-premise application. So in that case, we have the Management Studio client installed, and then through that we connect to the SQL server, and then we create database, and inside the database we create objects like that. Okay, so similarly here in Azure I can create SQL database. There are many ways I can create SQL database. Okay, I'm discussing on Azure SQL database. This is a PaaS service and it is based on SQL server. So I will show you in the Azure portal that how to create the SQL database. Okay, when we are going to create SQL database, then we have to configure few of the things. So it's better that we first be familiar with those. So first thing is logical server. Whenever I will try to create a database, it will ask me that what is the name of the server or what are the details of the server. So this is a server that should be present before we create any database. Okay, and it is like the SQL server that we create on premise. So it's a server instance, and there can be multiple databases in the same server. It's possible that I create multiple databases in the same SQL server. So whenever I am creating the first database, I should create the SQL server as well. And after that, if I want to create more and more databases, I can access that same SQL server. And the server related activities, that is login creation and firewall rules, security policies, these are being controlled through the logical server. So we'll show you how to create the logical server and then create the database, Azure SQL database inside it. Then we need to configure the collation. So collation is actually the set of rules that sort and compare the data. It is like present in the on-premise SQL server as well. So it actually helps us to define the sorting rules when case sensitivity, accent marks, and other language characteristics are important. So there are different collations available through which we can define that how the case sensitivity will be handled or how will be the accent will be handled. So if we don't have any specific requirement, then we can go with always the default one for the collation settings. Okay, then there will be another thing that will come that we have to decide on, that is that compute plus storage, right? So whenever I am using a database, then behind that, in the background, there should be the compute power is required, then the storage is required, then the input output is required. So all these things will be handled by Azure. So it will ask me that what type of configuration I want, and based on that it will give me the power of compute and storage and IO, and based on that, of course, the cost will also be decided. Okay, so to decide on these things, it will provide me two types of options. Either I can select in respect to DTU, that is the full form of database transaction unit, and also I can decide based on vCore, which is the full form is virtual core. So in case of DTU, it is a kind of combination, means it will give me kind of a package that okay, x number of DTU means these many compute, these many storage, and these many IO. When it is y DTU, then it means the different combination of compute, storage, and IO. So I have some available options, and based on that I can select a particular DTU range for my requirements. Okay, and in case of vcore, it is like it is going to give me more control. Means suppose I need more compute but less storage, or I need more storage and less compute. So in those cases, maybe this dtu is not suitable for me, because maybe in dtu, when I am going for the higher configuration, then both compute and storage are increasing. So if I have some requirement where I need more control on the compute and storage, then I can go with vcore. Okay, it enables to configure resources independently. So I can totally have that power, that okay, I can ask that okay, this many compute is required, this many storage is required. So that is the weak core functionality. Okay, so I will show you that how we can really configure this through the Azure portal. Okay, then another concept that is also will be asked to me when I will try to create a SQL database in Azure. So that is called the elastic pool. So whether I need a elastic pool or not. So it's a kind of a concept that suppose you have a database where you need a particular range of compute and storage. Okay, and this computer storage, maybe it is varying. Maybe at some point of time on the day, that the compute is 50%, and sometime or most of the time it is like 5 to 10%. Okay, so it's kind of that if you have to configure it, then you always have to think that okay, that maximum 50, I need that up to 50, so that it can cope up with the requirement, right? But it may happen that you have some 5 databases. Okay, so 5 databases are configured in Azure, and these 5 databases go to their peak in different time of the data, and most of the time they are at very low requirement. So instead of having the maximum requirement for all the 5 databases, what we can do, we can ask for a pool having the average requirement of those databases. So what will happen, at some moment maybe one particular database is using um, the maximum compute, and rest are using the minimum number of compute, so that the total thing is actually compensated. So for example, suppose I have 5 databases, so um, I am taking say 100 for those 5 databases, and their average is kind of 10, and that their maximum is 50. So if I am going to individually configure their compute, then I have to take 50 into 5, that is 250. But this 250 is going to be wastage, because maximum time of the day, it is the average load is suppose 10 to 20. So what I am doing, instead of that I am taking 100. So what will happen, maybe at some moment one of the database is taking 50, and rest of the 4 are taking 10 each, and after some time, maybe that database goes down to 10, and some second one is taking 50. So overall, at any moment it is not going to use more than 100. So instead of taking the compute for individual databases, I am taking it as a pool, and they are using it on a shared basis. Okay, so that's how what we can do, that we can complete our requirement, that all our databases are working fine, and at the same time I'm not going to pay for all the peak loads. It's kind of sharing, maybe means is like you have some resources, you are sharing in the best possible way. Okay, so it enables to buy a set of compute and storage resources that are shared among all the databases in the pool, and you are always okay to include one database in a pool, or you can just remove the database from the pool at any time depending on your load. Okay, and each database can use the resources they need, provided they are in the limit. Okay, so if I have bought some suppose compute power 100, then the total compute power of all these 5 databases cannot go beyond 100. So I have to decide on this, that what may be the total maximum load at any point, right? I have to calculate that, and based on that I have to set that elastic pool. And for that load selection, I have this unit, that is eDTU. Okay, DTU we have discussed earlier for the individual database, and for elastic pool we have eDTUs, that is called elastic database transaction unit. Okay, so I have to decide on this and allow each database in the pool to consume fewer or greater resources, right? So when I have configured eDTU, then it's like that at any point the total resource consumption by all the databases in the pool can reach maximum to that power. Okay, it cannot go beyond that, but the load can be divided between the any ratio between the different databases in the pool. So that's the concept of elastic pool. Okay, so those are the things that we should know. So let us now go to the portal. Okay, fine. So this is the Azure portal. I am in the home page of Azure portal. This is the account I have, that is free account I have created. So you can also always go to Azure portal and create your free account, which will give you a lot of services to use for free for first 1 month, and then after 1 month there are also many things that are free. You can go to Azure portal and it will show you all the details about that. So first of all I will go to this button, that is create a resource. Okay, so you know that it will show you this menu items. You can directly search from here, this search the marketplace, or you can go to different types of resources and you can select. So I will go to databases. Once I am in the databases, then it is showing me all the items under databases. Okay, so these many types of databases related items are there. So I am selecting SQL database. Okay, so here I am going to create a SQL database. So here first thing is subscription. So subscription is, as we have discussed, that all my resources will be billed under this subscription and I have to pay for the same. And here I am using just the free trial. So here this drop down is coming and it's only the option is free trial, so I will just select free trial. Then comes the concept of resource group. So it is a collection of resources that share the same life cycle, permission and policies. So when I have some resources which are related to each other, which work in as a unit, then it's better that I create one resource group and put all of them in that resource group. Okay, so in this drop down you can select that I have no resource group created, so better I create one resource group and that name should be unique. Okay, so I will create one resource group, maybe R group. Okay, so I'm giving this name R group 1 ST. So this resource group is created and selected here. So I'm going to create my SQL database within this free subscription and this resource group. Then I have to provide the details of the database. So first of all I have to give a name for the database. Okay, so I will give the name SQL db1 ST. Okay, so it will show you the different guidelines that you have to follow when you are giving the name, and when it is correct then it will show you this right mark here. Okay, then when I have created the database name, then we have to mention the name of the server. You remember that in on-premise also, before creating a database, it's important that we should have the SQL Server instance present. So it's also working as the same concept. Okay, it's the logical server. So if we go to the drop down, actually there is no SQL Server present, so we have to create a new SQL Server. Okay, so again we have to give a name. So I'm giving a name SQL Server 1 ST. Fine. Okay, so it is showing me that the name is okay. then I have to provide admin login and password. It is also same way we create on-prem SQL server. When we create, we have to create some admin login and password. So it is important that I create some name which follow the set of rules. So I give admin login sd, that is the login name. Then I will give the password. Okay, I have given some password. I will confirm the password as well. Okay, and once the password is selected, then I have to give the location. You know that whenever I am creating any service, then there are many locations where actually the physical servers are present. So I can select some location based on my requirement, maybe, because when I create something in a location and when users are accessing from the same location or the nearby locations, then it can be very fast. So if I have some specific requirement, I can select the location from here. For now I don't have anything specific, so I'm just keeping it as the default one it is giving me. Okay, so now this SQL server is created and this database is created under this SQL server. Okay, next option is want to use a SQL elastic pool or not, that we have discussed. So for now I will keep it as no only, the default one. Fine. Then this compute plus storage, we have discussed about this D2 and vCore. So this is the standard that is showing that this is the default one. If I click this configure button, then it will show me this types of options available. Okay, so for DTU you can see that I have three options available: basic, and then standard, and then premium. So premium is not available for this free category, so I cannot do that. So here you can see that in basic, or in whenever you are in basic or you are in standard, then for basic is like you can see that the size of data can be maximum 2 GB. Okay, and when you are going to standard, then you can change this DTU. As you change, you can see that the data size will change. So if I change this to 20, then this will be changed. Okay, so okay, fine. So you can see that as and when I'm increasing this, then it is going to change this estimated cost as well. Okay, but as I am in the free subscription, so I cannot do these things here, so let it be the default one only. So but that is the way that you can go to different loads. Okay, so for now I can just keep it to the minimum cost of DTUs, the basic one. And this is the vCore based purchasing option. So if I go there, then it will show you that these are the different ways of selecting the vCore options. Okay, and you can see that it is actually the cost goes high, and there are some different options also in the vCore. You can see that I can select different compute tier, so it will give you some more options. Okay, so it can be the compute tier can be provisioned or serverless. So these are the different options you have. Okay, fine. So you can see that this is the maximum vCore, this is the minimum vCore. So a lot of options are available when you are in the vCore option. Okay, so that will depend on our specific requirement. If we have some specific requirement, we can go for that. Okay, so this is a concept auto pause delay. This is something that it has some option that when your server is not working, then after some time, maybe if you select that, okay, 5 minutes, after 5 minutes it will stop working. So that what will happen, that maybe that for 1 hour there is no activity in your server. In that case, you will not be charged for that. So many options are there. You can go through those and you can have more knowledge on this. So for now I can just keep it as basic. Okay, so I'll just apply. Fine, so that is the basic thing I have selected. Next thing is networking. So networking is like how the SQL's database is going to be accessed by different machines, different clients. Okay, so for now I'll just keep it as no access. When required later we can change this. Fine, so I have nothing to do much on this. So let us have, this is the review plus create. So when you are creating, it will show you all the details in a summary form. So you can see that these are all the details provided. So now I can press this create button. Whenever you are pressing this create button, then this notification will show you that how it is going on. So when you press this notification button, then you can see that exactly what is going on. So this database creation will take some time so that you can do the deployment. Okay, so you can see here that the deployment is in progress, so it will take some time. Okay, so that way I can create SQL database in Azure. And once the database is created, then we'll set some firewall rules and will show you that how I can access that database from our management studio in our machine. So I will show you that from my management studio I will access this database, and I will do some table creation and then inserting some data and selection of data. Okay, so in the next session I will show you that how to work with this new database that we are creating. So for now, thank you.